Davey, you made your name and your fortune with the Monkees. What's happened to them now?
Well, the Monkees is now on reruns, the television show, and it's doing quite well. It's #1 rated show on Saturday morning television. It's picked up quite a new audience, and
But the group itself, it's no longer the original four, is it?
We're not working together as a group, no. We just, as I said, just the reruns, and we don't go out and do personal appearances. Mickey Dolenz and I record for the Saturday morning TV show,
yeah.
And we put new songs into the show, but goodness gracious me, we're losing the cameraman in the rose bushes. We just record on Saturday. Go ahead. We record on for the Saturday morning TV show, and that's the extent of my commitment toward, to the Monkees.
So what else are you doing? What are you doing to replace this?
Well, I'm putting together a personal appearance act that I hope to take on the road. I hope to come to Australia, actually, in the early part of '71, which would be about March or so.
Is this what you always wanted to do, though? You started off on stage in musicals. You were in Oliver before you started with the Monkees. But now you seem to be staying with music rather than stage work.
Well, it's just that it's easier for me to get something together musically than it is for me to get like a part in a Broadway play together, which I would very much like to do. As you say, my background is from the stage. I really enjoy being on the stage more than anything.
Do you ever resent the fact that you fitted into a slot rather than creating a group which proved popular then?
Well, if it would have been our own creation, it wouldn't have never taken place. We would have never done it. It was a project that was put together by a motion picture company with thought in mind of recording, personal appearances, movies, and it was an idea that went a lot farther than just plain recording. If I was to get a group together like I have now, 4 musicians myself, one of them being Doug Trevor, who is an Australian fellow, who I met over there when we were doing the Monkees tour, it would be a different thing. I have put that together, and I have learnt from the Monkees about recording and about recording with a group, and
of course the other thing, now Mike Nesmith has set up with the First National Band, and it's got Joanne the hit song. Do you wish you'd gone into that with Mike, or are you happy?
No, that was his own thing. You see, he took his own direction, and he produced and wrote. He's been writing songs for a long time, and he wanted to do that, and he did that. He got that's his hit. I was never offered part of, to be part of his group or anything, the same as I haven't offered Mike to be part of my group. When I go to Australia, I'll probably do some concerts at the same time. I'll probably go into some of the league clubs and things like that, and to entertain adults. I'm able to, when I was on 6-7 years ago, when I was on Broadway, I was entertaining Wednesday afternoons to the Yiddish mamas of 85 years old, and thought I was charming, you see. I'm able to entertain to any kind of an audience, not necessarily to a rock and roll audience, a Grand Funk Railroad audience, or a Steppenwolf, or I have an audience that I cater to, and I'm aware of what the audience is. I don't try to reach out further than I'm able to. I've got it pretty much together. I have certain ideas of what my direction's going to be, and it's basically entertaining in, as I say, in all those areas where I'm able to do. I don't believe that there are many members of any successful rock and roll groups, including the Beatles, for instance. Best example I can give, Ringo's not an actor. I'm an actor. Ringo is acting, and therefore he's going to become an actor. Before I was a musician, I was an actor. I'm a good actor. I'm a very good actor. And I'll make my life entertaining, and I'll make a lot of money doing
it. Here we come, walking down the street. We get funniest looks from everyone we meet. Hey, we're the Monkees, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down. We're just trying to be friendly. I'll come and watch, sing and play. We're the young generation, and we got something to say.
you made an effort, obviously, to go in a different direction, and I don't know if you made an effort to disassociate from the Monkees, but you kept your career going in a positive direction in a lot of different outlets. Was that a conscious effort during that time period, or was it just the way that it was fate?
Well, it was conscious to the degree that I subscribed to the theory of the whole man, and I just didn't want to have an idea and not act on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of starting my own business and doing my own movies and making music videos and all that stuff, when it came up, you know, it seemed like, well, here's an idea now, you know, go forward and do whatever the demands of the idea are. And there wasn't a lot of activities around the Monkees time, you know, because the Monkees basically had, when the television show went off the air, no more activity.
Mm-hmm.
So there was, you know, 20-year period in there where it wasn't really any effort to disassociate myself from that. I have no desire to do that. It was an effort to just continue to expand my own thinking and to be productive and helpful, or whatever, you know, seemed to be the right thing at the time.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 9 of my Monkee album deep dive series, and we've come to the end of a road, so to speak, with their final album of the classic Monkees period, Changes. The title Changes was originally considered for the movie Head, but then it wasn't, and Davy Jones and his songwriting collaborator, Steve Pitts, actually wrote a song and recorded a song called Changes. Never saw the light of day. I'm not sure why it didn't appear on this album, except the producer for the album, Jeff Barry, probably said, I've got better material that I want to stick on here. Speaking of, Jeff Barry was the producer on this album. Mike Nesmith had left the band at the beginning of 1970 after he fulfilled his Kool-Aid commercial obligations, went off with his national band, and never looked back. So it was up to Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones to fulfill the recording contract that they had signed when the group was originally formed with Coal Gem Records. So Coal Gems sent them into the studio with Jeff Barry and said, just record a bunch of shit, we don't care, and then we're going to be done with the Monkees. And so that's exactly what they did. Is this album terrible? No, it's not terrible. Is it great? Is it better than anybody expected? Not really. I mean, I think this album sold about 12 copies when it came out. It is very rare. If you find an original Coal Gems copy of this, consider yourself very lucky and snap it up if it's at a reasonable price. This happens to be the Rhino reissue, the only one that really seems to be available. So it's hard to find, but it's not a bad album. There are highlights on this album, but for the most part, you've got a bunch of Jeff Barry, Andy Kim collaborations as far as the songs go. You know, the hot streak that Mickey Dolenz was on with the Instant Replay and the Present album, yeah, went completely cold. He's got one song that he wrote on this album. It's a great song, to be sure, but his songwriting inspiration, I guess, just dried up because we don't get any amazing Mickey Dolenz compositions on this album. So it's all Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones on the vocals and a bunch of studio musicians providing the backing tracks. That's what this is. Do I listen to it? Sometimes, but it's certainly probably one of my least played Monkees albums. But I'll get into the songs on here and we'll see what's great and what's mediocre and what downright stinks. So the first track is Oh My My, and it's got a, you know, early 70s period feel to it. Got a nice bass groove on it. The chorus is very soulful, kind of an R&B and soft rock hybrid, if you will. Very catchy song, I will say that.
Oh my, my, I could love you forever. Oh my, my, I only wish that I could. Oh my, my, I could love you forever. Oh my, my, girl, you feel so good.
This popped up on the Monkey Flips album, one of the first Monkey albums that I owned. I didn't realize it wasn't a full band effort. It sounds a bit like classic Monkees, so great song. Ticket on a Ferry Ride is a very slow kind of, I don't know, it sounds like you're on a riverboat or something like that. But You're on a Ferry Ride is exactly kind of the feeling you get from this. It's a very slow, methodical, acoustic-based song. Got a nice rhythm to it. Mickey sings it very wistfully. And I like it. I do. I like the first two songs on here. I think are great. I got no problem with either of these. I think they sit alongside some of the Monkees' better songs. Call Me Crazy, but I really like those two songs. The third song is You're So Good to Me. This was a collaboration between Jeff Berry and Bobby Bloom. I don't know who that is. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comment section. It's all right. It's a Davy Jones song. Tries to have like that early 70s white soul sound. It's all right. It sounds very dated now. You've kind of got this gospel like chorus. Davy sings it well. I'm just not a huge fan of the song. They perform it well. You know, it's an okay listen. It just sounds dated to me. I'm not crazy about it. Then It's Got to Be Love, same thing, very early 70s, soft rock, you know, what would later be coined yacht rock, probably. It's not offensive, it's not terrible, it's just ho-hum, as far as I'm concerned. Acapulco Son, it's a bit of a, I don't know, Caribbean kind of a rhythm. Mickey has fun with the vocals. Sounds like you've got a little Hawaiian guitar on here. Not a bad song. If I had to say, is it one of my favorite songs on here? It's probably one of the mid-range. Like, not one of my favorites. Pretty decent. Not one of the worst. So it's just okay. 99 Pounds was a song that was actually recorded in early 1967 for the More of the Monkees album. It was a song that Jeff Berry had submitted to Don Kirshner. They recorded this version of it, and Don Kirshner just didn't put it on the More of the Monkees album. Wish he would have substituted it for The Day We Fall in Love, but he didn't. But it's on here, and it's the hardest rocking moment on here. It's one of Davy Jones' better songs in the entire Monkees catalog, as far as I'm concerned. It's very heavy, uncharacteristically heavy for Davy Jones. So I do like it in that respect. So side one, not bad. Side one overall is pretty enjoyable. Flip it over to side two. Tell Me Love is, again, Mickey trying to be very soulful, got an R&B flavor to it. Not crazy about it. I'm just not. This style of music I don't particularly care for, so not a fan of Tell Me Love. Do You Feel It Too? Again, more soft rock, could have easily been an Andy Kim song. You know, these are the type of songs that were written that found a place on the radio. Not these songs, but types of songs like this that didn't have the Monkees name attached to it were popping up all over the radio in the early 70s. And it's dated. I don't care for it. Just not a fan. It's a Davey vocal, and it's got some cheesy lyrics. I think they even say the word groovy in it. Like, no, not a fan. I Love You Better is okay. Again, it's another one of these soulful rockers. Got a nice Mickey vocal. This popped up on, it was either Monkey Flips or Monkey Business. One of those like late Rhino greatest hits compilations. So it's all right. It's one of the better songs on side 2. Lum diddy addy day. That's like kind of the call and response part of the vocal. It's all right. And again, it's got this like white funk, white R&B sound to it, which is okay. Again, it's one of, not great, not terrible, just kind of in the middle for me. All Alone in the Dark is Mickey kind of, it's a silly song. Mickey Dolenz affecting a falsetto, a goofy falsetto, singing in a very childlike voice, a very piano bouncy, almost sounds like a kid's song to me. All right. It's not a song I want to hear over and over again, but I get what he was going for. Midnight Train is a song that Mickey had written for the Present album, Present, however you pronounce it. It didn't make it onto that album. I'm glad it's here because it helps lift this from a entirely dispensable album to one that's worth at least a couple of listens. Midnight Train was actually dubbed onto one of the episodes of the TV series during one of those Monkey romps, and it sounds like classic Monkees. It's kind of got a chugging rhythm to it.
Now listen just a minute while I sing this song. Don't you worry, baby, it won't take long. Just about ready to draw the lines. Don't be surprised when I leave this time.
Nice harmonica on it. Mickey wrote this around the time of the Headquarters sessions. If you listen to the Headquarters outtakes, he's doing a version of this with his sister Coco. So my favorite song on the album is Midnight Train. I absolutely love that. Then the only Tommy Boy's Bobby Hart song on here is I Never Thought It Peculiar. And we're back to the vaudevillian dance hall style of music, Tin Pan Alley kind of, Broadway sounding song from Davy Jones. They try to mix it up a little on the production, adding some strings and some groovy guitar here and there, but it's not a great song. Certainly not a great Tommy Boy's Bobby Hart song. Maybe if it had been done in a different arrangement early on in the Monkees' career, but here it just really sounds out of place considering the other songs on here. So those are my thoughts on the Changes album. Let me know what you think about it. I know, Chris Prophy, you're a fan, but only 2 widow Monkees left in the band. They look so lonely. This was actually part of a larger picture. I think Mike Nesmith was over here. It was part of a concert that they gave when they were on tour with the Good Timers, but they just cropped it so you just see Davey and Mickey on here. And this were some photos from their Kool-Aid commercial. But anyway, yeah, Changes. What do you think? The last Monkees album we would get for a very long time. Some people say, thank God. Other people, it was a very long interval. But anyway, those are my thoughts. That's my deep dive on the Changes album. And I'm not sure if I'm going to pause this series for a while or if I'm going to dip into their 80s stuff. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. But thanks for watching and take care.